Oh my God, we are live. I love this. So, technically, I decided to go live because I was just thinking to myself, what is the coolest next thing or best next thing after creating content? Is to go live doing content. I think that we are sick and tired in general. Of just like watching people reading through scripts, not being themselves, and the best thing you can do in this world is to be authentic, to try to be yourself and to talk. And that's why I love Q&As, and I love integrating people through my community, or myself being integrated through communities, because we all need that human touch, even though it's still through a screen. But at least you'd be able to interact and stuff. Let me remove my camo. um, yeah, there we are. Yeah, we're not promoting anything here. So, what are you going to get after this live video? So, you're going to get to understand what are the steps if you take today, um, or even like for the next 5 months, 1 month, 1 year, 2 years. Finding the right partner is worth it, but also we should not neglect it. We should not also get terrified from it. I think that we should approach it strategically. And this is why the title of this live is going to be Making a Relationship is as Hard as Building a Business or Operating a Business, but it's worth it. Guess what? Anyone who, let's say, he succeeded in operating and building a business, after it's successful, they'll be able to romanticize their pain. So it's the same thing for a relationship. After you go through the connecting phase and building chemistry and truly understanding your partner's needs, then only then you'd be able to say that, hey, I have an amazing relationship. It's worth it to go through all of the uncomfortableness, because just like a business, a relationship is going to put you in situations where you need to get out of your comfort zone. You need to stretch yourself outside of what you know, outside of familiarity. That's why a lot of people who have been in relationships, they jump back into the dating world and in the dating field, dating the same people subconsciously, because nobody teaches us how to rewire our brains, how to rewire ourselves to a healthy pattern or a healthy relationship. Just simply nobody knows. Nobody knows how to do that. Nobody knows how to encourage us to do that, or even we don't know how to take the steps to it. But luckily, there are people who did the hard work, so you can just simply take that strategy and implement it. Okay, so pay attention. Just because it's not paid, that doesn't mean that it's not important. So the first important step here, and put in my notes, is finding the right partner matters the most. First of all, I need to tell you that the person whom you're going to be with and whom are you going to get married to or be in a relationship with is in a direct relationship to your mental health, or direct impact to your mental health, direct impact to your finances, to your emotional well-being, to your physical well-being. So pay very close attention to this decision, because it's either going to truly make you or break you. And the reward is just as big. So when any relationship is technically a risk taken, so might as well take a calculated risk. So this is technically what you're going to get after this live. Um, What's funny is that many people spend more time thinking about material things than they do about who they will spend their life with, even though the relationship that matters far more is their long-term well-being. So a lot of people would just go to university from the moment of birth, and they would spend a lot of years accumulating skills and knowledge, and they would spend months vetting on the perfect job or perfecting the perfect resume. But they would just like swipe through a few dating apps and they'd be like, yeah, this seems like it's fine, whatever. It's just like, I don't have time to go on dates. What does that even mean? You don't have time to go to dates. What does that even mean? So you're trying to tell me, or translate, that this decision is not worth it to you. So you're telling me that your well-being, or you're either underestimating the risk of picking the wrong partner, or you're just simply um, prioritizing other things, just like the materialistics, over your love life and over truly the purpose of why we're existing is to cohabit and to coexist and to create families. And I think that the world is pushed more and more again into um, toxic like girl boss, and we're truly separating our society where men are more mushier and softer than ever and women are more crueler and more independent than ever. Who says independence can get in the way of you having a relationship, as well as who says that you have an emotional intelligence as a man um, takes away your masculinity? But there's true definitions to that. Just don't be a pussy, and for a woman, don't be a man in disguise, right? But that's besides the point. But don't even tell me that you don't have time to date, because if you don't have time for what you want, then somebody else is going to take the decision for you and you're not going to have a choice. So if you don't choose your partner, the universe is going to choose it for you, and it's going to be. And here's the tricky part, you really are a direct reflection to who you attract. So a relationship is the best test if you've healed as a person, if you are comfortable with growth, if you are someone who needs a lot of work to himself. And if you didn't do the work, then rest assured that you will do it one way or another, because the universe, and I believe it is very, very fair. It's just like a lot of people would just rather blame or point to all the other people around for what they are, to their situation is, and a lot of people just don't want to assume accountability. So that's why even if they are in toxic relationships, they would tell you like, yeah, it's his fault, it's her fault. But at the end of the day, it is your fault, but it's also your responsibility. So if you choose right, then you'll make sure that you are having less damage. So yeah, but definitely you need to have or take time off of your hand to do that, to go and qualify people. Because if you were to recruit or hire someone for your work or your agency, I'm sure you take time of the day to qualify. Anyway, but part of attracting the right person is, perhaps the first one is technically be available. So you're going to work on your confidence, your emotional availability. You're going to work on the foundations. You're going to work on healing from past relationships, because it's not going to be funny anymore. You have to make sure that your plate is clean for somebody else to join. Second is, technically you have to work on your personal brand. We're still living in a virtual world, visual world for both women and men. So you need to present yourself the way that you want to be presented. Nobody's going to take the time to assume that you're a great person and you're clean and husband or wife material. You have to present yourself that way through your personal brand and through social media, whatever it is that you use. For me, I think that social media can be used in a great way. Just like for business, you can attract people through Facebook and Instagram, and you can do it such a short period of time, where you'd be able to tell through their profiles if they're the right person or not for a date selection, not as a partner selection. This is where the selection comes in, is that through learning how to select and how to scan red flags, you'd be able to tell if someone is worth being with or not, right? But second point is that you need to be person worth being with. So if you're someone that is fat or overweight, and if you're someone that don't have a job and you didn't get your shit together, that's why I love that Drake song. It's like, you need me to get my shit together so we can be together. Nobody wants to come in and play Bob the Builder. Nobody wants to come in to do the work that you didn't want to do, because why are you unwilling to do the work for yourself? Don't you matter? Or are you a hypocrite? Do you want something that you cannot provide, or you cannot embody, or you cannot present to the other person? So we need to start being honest with ourselves. So you can have high standards as long as you provide them. So if you work out and you make money and you're fit and you're a good person, you can definitely look for those qualities in the other sex. So as long as you have something, you don't have high standards, you're being realistic with your standards. So there you go. It's very simple equation, but a lot are not willing to do it. Okay. And also, if you're trying to look for like a unicorn, someone who's perfect on all levels, someone who's just gonna come in and make your life better, rest assured it's not going to be great coming from that place of looking. You need to attract. So abundance, and I'm sure you heard about this before, abundance is a state of energy. So abundance is a state of being. You're already everything that you need. You have every feeling that you want. Whatever, like let's say for example, you want to attract a dream partner because that will make you feel loved, that will make you feel great, that will make you look have fuzziness and romance and everything that is great. Why don't you feel that way when you go to a Zumba class and have that feeling? And from having that feeling, you're going to end up attracting more of those feelings and eventually be in a happy relationship. But the way you attracted it, it's from a different place, if that makes sense. So okay, yeah, so focus on your own growth, especially character, consistency, values, not just external traits or hacks. Um, if you were to look for something in someone else, is values and character, because these are the two things that money cannot buy. Now, and I want you to ask yourself, be very honest with yourself. What are the traits and behaviors and values that matter the most to you? What goals do you have? How do you want to live? How do you want your partner to support that? And what are you willing to sacrifice? Because you cannot get everything. This is why point number three is clarity on what you want and what you expect. So a lot of people go into relationships because that's what they think they're supposed to do, and eventually they'll learn about their purpose and they're just like a complete hot mess. And that's why I don't advise when someone is a complete hot mess to go into the world looking for a partner, because you're both going to be spiraling down the hill in hot messes. Instead, at least figure out some things about yourself. What are your values? What is your character based on? Are you a loyal person? And also, rest assured that you cannot call yourself patient, resilient, important unless you actually are putting through the test. So if you find yourself being depressive, you find yourself that you give up easily, that you don't make decisions quickly, you don't recover fast from something bad that happens to you, which resilience is how, for example, resilience is like this, is like this small gap here of recovering is how you can go bounce back from something to a neutral state. So if you bounce back very quickly, it means you're a resilient person, and that's one of the most important skills you can have and acquire in life, because you would know how to just not give up and how to dust yourself up and just move forward and ask and say this, like, so what, so what, I didn't meet someone great yet, so what, I'll meet it and eventually, and so what, someone cheated on me, that's not a reflection of my values, so what, I lost the job, I can apply for another better job, so what, I failed in my business, I will just start until I succeed, so what, that person thinks of me like that, I don't think of me like that. But a lot of people are just afraid. A lot of people are not willing to bet on themselves, and a lot of people don't have their own way of thinking, as if like they're all on autopilot. So make sure that you know your values, you know your character, you know where you're going, because one of the most important things that you need to know is where are you headed, what are you working towards. So yeah. And after that, I would say point number four is trade-offs and alignment. Every life choice has a trade-offer. For example, choose comfort now versus growth later, or long-term goals. I really think that's so important to make up our own decisions and choose our own heart. I heard someone one time at the gym. She's literally like, "Girl, I don't know how you do that Bulgarian split with those weights. It's just so hard. I don't think I want to do that exercise. I'm sure I'll find something easier." I was like, "Girl, there is no such thing as easy. Being overweight is hard. Working out is hard. Choose your heart." But I'll tell you something. But doing the hard, like for example, for working out, it's gonna seem hard in the beginning, and it is. And if you keep like challenging your muscles, it will be hard. But maintaining it is easy. This is something that actually, when you choose your own heart, it will get easier eventually. The maintenance phase is gonna be very nice because you've done the hard thing. So unlike being overweight, it's gonna be forever hard. So wouldn't you rather choose the hard now and the easy later? And it's just like Being single is hard, being in a relationship is hard, but don't you want to like go through the hard phase in a relationship only to know that you have a best friend, someone you know, someone you trust? Because if you do things correctly, then there's no such thing as going to be hard forever. There really isn't. You just don't have the information. There's this thing about the difference between anxiety and there's like anxiety and sadness. So sadness is a perceived lack of option. So you would feel completely disappointed because you don't have an option. But once you do have a knowledge, then you would have options. And then anxiety is having a lot of options but not being able to decide. So if you decide, then you would have clarity so you can move forward from anxiety. So if you're feeling sad, it's because of lack of knowledge. And if you're feeling anxious, it's because you cannot make up your mind, you cannot decide which option is right for you. So reach out, invest in yourselves, guys. Like, it's so important to know that we are all living in a world that we're one information and one decision away from a completely different life. And it's so important that we listen to people that have the exact same life that you want, or at least they're an expert at what you're looking to solve. Sometimes people choose to be private, so they're not going to show their spouse or their partners all the time on social media, but it doesn't mean that they're happy, they're not fulfilled, they're not with the right person. So yeah, but make sure that you're not just following trends and you are falling for the viral. I really support everyone whom are working on themselves. Even going viral is not easy, however it doesn't mean it doesn't equal to value. Again, I'm going to mention the example of Liz the Wizard. It really doesn't mean it really doesn't mean that she knows what she's talking about, because she has a father wound and she was in a relationship when she was pregnant. She didn't even get married, and she just translated this person having money materialistically, showing her love, showing his love towards her through buying her a few things and like expensive gifts. It translated to her that, holy shit, this person cares, nobody has ever done that for me. That's why I mentioned at the beginning, or earlier I said you have to invest in your confidence and on your foundation, so you clear your plate so you can attract someone. Because the universe thinks in intentionality. When you put your heart to it, when you are genuine and you are authentic, then rest assured that you're going to attract someone on that vibration or on that frequency. But anyway, so yeah, trade-offs. So yeah, let's talk about alignment. Every life choice has trade-offers. Also, partner alignment means both people share major values or goals. If one person's goals diverge significantly, it will cause tension or unhappiness. So this is one of the most important aspect of selection. If you and your partner are not on the same page and you don't share the same values, you not character, but you don't share the same vision and goals, then it's going to be hard to make it work. And one of you is going to either feel resentment or unhappiness, extreme unsatisfaction and fulfillment. Because this is, I'm sure, like something common that happens, and this is why most divorces are initiated, because one partner feels like they're outgrowing their partner, or and the other one is not catching up. So it doesn't matter if it's the man or the woman. Well, usually women initiate divorces, but in general, when two people live together, it is a work. It's still a work in progress. I don't agree with people who just think that, oh, I've done the hard work, we're married, we're perfect now. Let me just get that mom weight or father weight and let me just get comfortable. No, the real work starts when you're married. And you should be honored, you should be happy. It's just life. You always have to evolve and you should always put in your best foot forward. It doesn't mean like you are being assessed or you're being interviewed or you're being challenged, and maybe you're being challenged, but you're not being tested. You're just think about it like this: if you love someone, then you take care of yourself for them. It's that simple, but a lot of people complicate it. Oh, I did that for you, you just didn't see. I did that for you a few years ago, but you didn't see. Understand your partner's needs. If it's outside of their needs, it's not going to matter to them. So if you buy them a flower while they know it's most important that you cuddle, or you give them an active service inside the house, this is where most men fuck up or mess up, sorry. But they'll be like, oh, but I bought you flowers the way that you wanted to. Yeah, but you also didn't wash the dishes when I told you to, and you didn't help me, and I was tired that day. It's just, listen to your partners. Being present. I think most people are not being present, and most people are not even listening to each other anymore, and that's the problem. So yeah, but qualify properly and understand where you're both going. If someone wants to go to France and the other one wants to live in, I don't know, Egypt, then it's not going to work out, because one of you has to sacrifice majorly, and they will then, if things don't work out, or things don't work properly, then that partner would start to get bitter, and they'll say, I sacrificed this and this and that. And also here women would put a huge level of investment when it comes this to wanting to have kids. Pregnancy, motherhood, it's not easy. So she wants to feel like she's not taken advantage of, and she's being supported. So I would say, men, pay attention what are your requests. So if you want to stay at home mom, then make sure that you can support her, and if you cannot support her financially, then at least you would be a true partner, someone who listens, cares, someone who's there doing half of the chores with her, taking care of that baby as much as she is, because you're still the father. So I think that in a toxic way, sometimes men, they just think that, oh, I would just, if I can, like, finances are crap and she has to work. Okay, no worries, but you also have to contribute 50-50, which I don't believe in 50-50. Like, each partner is going to give 100 in whatever role they can give, because you can never give 100 like a woman. You can never give 100 like a man. A man has his own roles that no woman can do better, and a woman can have their own roles that no man can do better, because nature is nature, biology is biology. But I think that, yes, if you ask me, then society is making it harder, economy is making it harder. But if you show up 100% present and intentional with your partner, then you would be very, very hard to be replaced, and you would be very, very hard to be mistreated, if you keep a healthy balance and fair expectations from both parties. So yeah, the fifth point, which is honesty and strong standards from the start. Honesty, I would focus on that first. Most people are not honest. Most people, if you, let's think about it like this. So if you want to lie on your resume, but then on the interview, you, like, your recruiter be able to see how flawed your English is, or your thoughts process, and you don't have the experience you said you did have, and you didn't attend Harvard and all of those things, you would end up getting rejected. And even if you get accepted, then you would eventually get laid off, because the lie can never go too far more than the truth. So eventually you wasted your time, they wasted their time, everyone's losing. Why would you do that? It's the same thing as in dating. So you would go on a date, and probably they spoke to you on the app, so you'd send them pictures that are all heavily edited, and you would say that you have six packs and you have six figures, and someone would meet you and you're overweight and you don't look like the picture, and then you'd be like, who are you? You'd be like, hey, I just slipped my, I got a little slip, I'll catch back. It's like, a little slip, it looks like it's like a catch fishing to me. And the same way with women, by the way, they would just like put the heavily edited picture with her bunda all over the place, and fresh and sexy and funny, and then when they meet, that she would be a different person, or even if she's looking good, she'd be a snob. And most people are starting to get afraid and protecting themselves more and more, because they'd be like, why would I do that to myself? Because we hate pain. We hate pain. Not a lot of people are willing to go through pain. um, Not a lot of people. But anyway, so choose to be honest. What do you hate? What do you love? Don't study the profile just to answer the way that they want to. So you guarantee you're not going to get rejected. So if you have fear of rejection, work on that. Um, and also, if you have fear of intimacy, work on that. If you have fear of vulnerability, work on that. Don't trauma dump on people. I think that don't expect them to be your therapist, just like the same way you don't want a woman to treat you as a credit card. So be honest. What are you looking for? And I think with self accountability plus with honesty in the beginning, then you definitely start, even intentionally, you would start attracting people who are authentic and real. Like, there's no way that you wouldn't attract someone that wouldn't get it. So yeah, and high standards. Instead of settling, I encourage like putting high standards but realistic ones and holding yourself to them too. So basically being clear about what you want and what you're bringing to the table. So again, I spoke about this earlier. If you can provide what you're asking for, then your standards are realistic. Congratulations to you. Just that simple. So yeah, I'll not make this very, very long. um, yeah, I'll not make this very, very long. So if you follow these steps, then you'd put yourself in a very favorable situation, and you will you very much find yourself attracting better quality dates, and you will eventually find the person that will help you grow and that will help you enjoy this life. Because, like they said, is it the journey or the destination? They said the company. Thank you so much for watching this live, and I'll see you in the next one.